In today's market, at least here in St. Louis, Missouri, where my wife and I work as real estate agents, there's a severe shortage of listings. To give you an example, in a balanced market, which favors neither the seller nor the buyer, there's usually 6 months of inventory, 6 months of listings available to buyers. But right now, in many areas here in St. Louis, the inventory is at 1.5 to 2 months. So this makes it very, very difficult for buyers to purchase homes. And what they often find themselves in is a bidding war where there are, multiple offers on a particular property. But don't worry, there are ways to compete and to compete well. My wife and I have developed 7 strategies that I'm going to discuss with you in just a minute. Hi, everyone. So yeah, there is a severe shortage of homes right now, but it is possible to win in a competitive situation. But one of the first things you should realize is that homes typically, at least here right now in St. Louis, are often selling for more than the list price. We measure what we call sales to list price. It's a percentage, and when a sale goes for more than the listing price, that's reflected in this percentage. So it's common to see a sales to list percentage of 101%, 102%, even as high as 104% in some cases. So for example, if it were 104% list to sales price on a $200,000 home, that would be $8,000 that would be bid over asking price. So this is what you're up against, and but again, don't be disheartened. There is a way to deal with this. Actually, there are 7 ways to make yourself more competitive. Just know that the old days of buying a home at list price are probably not going to happen that often. So what's the very first way you can be competitive? Well, again, it's bidding more than the asking price. Now, you should work with your real estate agent to make sure that that's a fair price to pay for the house in today's market. And we determine this by using competitive analysis. We analyzed the homes that have sold in that neighborhood in the last 6 months, or in the near area, or nearby that area if there are none. And we determine what that house should sell for given the market. And so the first thing you can do is probably to offer more than the asking price. The second thing you can do is to provide additional earnest money. Now, earnest money, as I explained in an earlier video, is the money you give the seller when you put in the contract to show that you are sincere or earnest. Now, this money is not a fee. It does not go away. It actually reduces the amount of your loan. You can almost consider it a down payment, even though with a VA loan, we don't call it that. But in earnest money in the state of Missouri, typically is about 1 to 2% of the asking price. So if you offer more than 1% or more than 2%, you can make your offer more competitive. The third way you can be competitive is the addition of what we call an escalation clause. And an escalation clause says, I'm willing to offer this amount, but if someone outbids me, my offer automatically goes up in, say, $1,000 increments up to a certain point, in which case I won't pay any more than that. But an escalation clause can help you get a home $1,000, say, over the next bidder without offering a lot more than the house may be worth, or a lot more than you would normally have to offer to win that bid. The fourth way is to remove contingencies, or to have less damaging contingencies. Now, contingency is a common term in real estate that applies to many things, but typically we're talking about the fact that you may have a home to sell. So if you have a home now and you have to sell it to buy a new home, then you have a contingency. Well, by removing that contingency and otherwise saying, I'm going to buy this home regardless of whether I sell my home, if you can afford to do that, then that may help make your offer more competitive. If you know your house is going to sell very quickly, then it may be a good idea to remove the contingency because you consider yourself taking a lot less risk on getting your home sold, and that does make your offer far more competitive. There are two other variations of this. One is to make your purchase contingent on the sale of your home, which means you already have accepted an offer. And the last, which is the least desirable, is to say that your offer is contingent on the purchase and sale. In other words, you don't have an offer yet, and you're waiting for one. That's typically called the sale and closing contingency. The fifth way to be competitive is by the use of a flexible closing date. In other words, your good real estate agent will ask the other agent before you put your offer in, what is the seller looking for? And this can be a lot of different things, but one is they might have some special requirement for a closing date that's sooner or later than typical, 30 to 45 days. So if that's the case, if you can be flexible and help them out, that will definitely make your offer more competitive. And then the sixth way you can be competitive is to write a letter. And this is sometimes done. And you and your spouse or significant other write a letter to the seller explaining why you really want to purchase their home, how special it is, how it's in the right school district, how it has the perfect yard for your kids, it has the pool you've always wanted, whatever that might be. By writing that letter and explaining to the seller why they should pick you, you might be more competitive. And the last item is sometimes done. It's removing subparagraph, this is in Missouri, subparagraph 2 of the inspection clause. So what you have to understand is that with the inspection clause, the way it's written in Missouri, provided you have a building inspection performed, you can get out of that deal for any reason and get your earnest money back. And it doesn't have to have anything to do with the inspection. It just gives you the opportunity to get out. We often call this the get out of jail free card. Well, if you take out subparagraph 2, in other words, you're very sincere and you're moving forward, what it does do is it gives you the right to negotiate items that you find on an inspection. And if you can't come to an agreement, it will fall apart and you will get your earnest money back. But it tells the seller that you're very sincere and you're not just going to get out for any old reason. You do want to move forward. So those are the 7 ways you can be competitive in this highly competitive market. If you have any questions, please give my wife and I a call. We'd be happy to walk you through these strategies. We specialize in working with veterans. I am a retired Navy commander and spent 20 years in the Navy. And so we have a section on our website devoted entirely to veterans. You might want to check it out. It has a lot of great information. But if we can be of any help, again, reach out to us. If you like this video, please push the like button and subscribe, and that way you'll be notified when we come out with new videos, which, by the way, is every Thursday. So until next time, stay safe and good luck.